Welcome to Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. It's your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yep. This is your boy, T.O., your other host.
We have Cari Champion up in the building today on Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. You know what? Matter of fact, go sit over there today. I want her to sit there.
I'm going to replace hotness with hotness. How about that? So I'm going to sit over there.
Just go over there, man.
I'm going to let her have my seat.
We need a hot buffer between us
That's
today.
all good.
How about
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Cari Champion on Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. And welcome to Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. It's your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yep. T.O. is in the building, and we have a very special, lovely guest today.
The champ is here.
Right.
The champ is here.
Yeah, she doesn't need any introduction, but we're going to give her one anyway.
Slight one.
Cari Champion.
In the building.
I don't need an introduction. I'm gonna take that then. All right. I love what you guys are doing. This is real
Thank
sexy.
you. Thank you.
Just
Thank you
like
for coming
real
up.
Sexy vibe. Thanks for having me.
We're trying to be adults. You know, some
How's
of
that
us.
working?
For me, great. For this one, I don't know.
Really?
You know what I'm
This is
saying?
how we-
I don't know. We're going to find out.
This
you
is
know.
how we get down on the
You know
show.
what's funny? Like, early plug. This is the most adult thing Mr. Owens has done in a long time. Wine. You know what I'm saying? Because that's adult, right? You're not doing shots of vodka and tequila no more. At our ages, right? We're doing wine now. So this is probably the most adult thing
I've
he's
matured in my...
Yes. Like a fine wine.
And he was so classy when you sent them out. You you personalized everyone's sleeve, which is with their name, and I was like, that's so lovely. I was like, what a wonderful gesture. You all elegance.
Well, first of all, Cari, I mean, I know you followed my career. As you followed mine, I began to follow your career as well, and you've done an amazing job. A lot of things at ESPN. Now you're doing your own stuff. I've seen you with Jemele, who's a good friend of ours. She's done the show, and so like I said, I respect people that understand and respect me, and so. I just wanted to give, to the people that are really, that have shown me love throughout the course of my career.
That's actually beautiful. Do you remember I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember the very first time we met?
The very
Tell it.
There's two stories.
There's something to
There's
it.
one time where I met you and you didn't meet me, and then there was a one time where we were face to face for a minute.
And what happened though? Tell it, y'all holding back. Tell it.
So when I was a reporter, this is a quick story. The second one is the one that y'all need to pay attention to. So when I was a reporter in Atlanta, I was at the local CBS station, and we went to interview you because you were doing something, and you were in this big, huge house, and you were doing some charity event or what have you, just raising money for people. And it was so many people in the house. Like nowadays, you think about COVID, you just no way you could ever have that happen. But
Right.
you was so like, I just can't, not necessarily be as friendly, but you were really reserved. And I remember the first time seeing you thinking, God, he's so quiet in spite of what the other image is of him. I was working local TV. I hadn't even done my route to get to ESPN yet. So that was just a thought that I had. Yeah. And then the second time we met.
When he was a little bit more.
No.
T.
We were on First Take.
Oh, okay.
First, I was to say it had to be like ESPN.
The first time you and Skip had your face-to-face. Do you remember? I don't even know if you remember. It was the most...
awkward. It was a little bit... Well, not
It wasn't
for
even
me.
a little bit. It was a lot bit awkward.
And it wasn't for me because I went on the show because I felt like I had to get something off my chest.
Yeah. I remember.
But I heard through other people like he was uncomfortable to a degree.
The room was uncomfortable. The tension, you could cut it. It was I think maybe 2012, 2013. And you walked on there and you had death eyes. That's why it was uncomfortable. Like you were looking like, I'm ready to bring it. And I was like, so welcome to the show. And then you could just feel it.
What was the feeling like before he got there though? So you're in the building every day, was it right? You guys have these production meetings.
And I have to be honest, I had just started working there, so I didn't know much about whatever your rapport was, the history between you two, and then I did a little research on it, but I didn't have enough research under my belt to realize that y'all had been going back and forth for a minute. And so I think the feeling in the building was, this is about to be a great interview. Like, this is about to be amazing. This is about to be must-see TV. Right. You know, get your popcorn. No, so that's what people were thinking. Right. And I felt as if it lived up to that while we were in that room. But you were focused, and I was like, oh, is this game day focused? I was like, game day. Yeah. So it was game day. You came in game day focused.
Yeah, and for me, over the years, like, because I knew how I grew up and I knew how the media had perceived me. And we've talked about it, you know, before. Skip has come up before. I just actually did Shannon Sharp's show, Club Shay Shay, and the subject came up. And it was because he was kind of starting out. I don't know if he was a columnist, beat writer. You know, I'm like, to me, it's all the same thing.
Right.
And so as an athlete.
Media.
Yeah. And so he created this narrative that I was this type of person. And I think he saw me and I became this villain. And he just started to put this target on my back and just attack. Yeah. And I knew I wasn't that type of person. Just as you explained, the first time did you ever see me, I'm in a house full of people. This is my house, but you would have never known it because I was so reserved. But that's how I grew up. That's just who I am.
Right.
But when I'm on a football field, you get me in a competitive, you know, environment. I'm a totally different person, totally different animal. But I just didn't like the way over the years of how he painted the picture. He started the canvas. You know, he started to paint this picture.
You felt like he influenced others, and as a result, you started to be perceived a certain way.
Right, and still today.
I mean, media is powerful. Right.
It is.
I mean, you're in the media, right? So do you feel that you guys have that power and you can do that at any time?
Look, when I was a kid, when I knew I wanted to do this, and then, I first saw this woman who looked like my auntie on TV, and her name was Oprah, and I was like, I want to do whatever this woman is doing. But then I saw a bunch of other, not a bunch, very few other black images of women who were doing this, and I thought it was powerful. So if you can see it, you can believe it. But it made sense to me when I was in college, and I took this one class, this comm studies class, and the professor, and he was like, media is the most powerful institution in the world because it's, first of all, media is a wide definition: social media, TV, podcasting now, films,
newspapers,
magazines. Like it's impossible to beat it. That's why it is like they say the pen is mightier than the sword. But I also know that it comes with great responsibility.
Right.
And, you know, unfortunately, everybody did take the responsibility class, right? Everybody doesn't pass the responsibility test. And I have been just as guilty. I have made mistakes in my career where I'm like, that wasn't, you know what? But if you talk long enough, you're gonna get yourself in trouble, right? So you're like, I shouldn't have said that. Right. That's not really what I think about that person, or that doesn't really reflect my true character. But I think it happens to everybody. But if you can find your way back, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, and I don't know if you view it this way, I think you won the battle of who you are. I think that if we focus on what the critics say, right, there's always going to be a critic.
Right.
We always hear that so much more loudly than those who are saying, I've seen the change. I've seen you evolve.
Well, yeah, I think yes and no, because it's always this. I feel like I've done a number of things. Like I said, I don't do a lot of stuff just for the sake of press or getting publicity behind it, this and that and the other. And you see how the media, they can sway, you know, public opinion about who a person is, even by some of the charitable and philanthropic things that they do.
Sure.
Like I said, I don't do that, but I know I've done it. I do it, you know, from the goodness of my heart. But, you know, to your point, like, you know, have I won? Do I feel like I've won it? No, because I think people still perceive me as that arrogant, cocky, selfish, you know.
I disagree.
I mean.
Well, again, you're on a different lens.
Right. You see it from a different lens
I disagree.
than what a lot of the audience has seen and heard, you know, from the platform that guys like Skip has had.
Or I think you, like you said, on the field, you were that dude. Like, I'm gonna be me. Right. So maybe that's what they're really talking about. Not even the selfish side of it, just that you were you and you performed when you did well, and no one should be ashamed of that. But I ultimately feel at the end of the day, it'll work itself out. It just does.
Yeah, for sure.
It does, but because when we look at it in 2021 with the whole Kwame Brown thing, it's like, to us, we're like, now media, you guys have to kind of make a choice. You can't just go say anything because there's going to be consequences.
No, you're right.
10 years ago, players, we were still too scared to say something back to somebody who were in the media talking about it. But now, I don't think the players, current players for sure, you know,
but
retired
you have
players.
to pick and choose too. Because you guys know this, even if you weren't in the media, even a public figure, period, somebody's always got something to say. Someone always is adding something. Like I'm talking about even me, and I'm in the media. So of course I understand people will say things and come at you and criticize you for even having an opinion. So I feel like the response like that, you're right. Kwame Brown was a perfect example of somebody can only take so much. But here was the flip. Like you have to also know that everyone will realize who you are. I feel like at the end of the day, who do you like? People think Michael Jordan. I love Mike. Mike can do no wrong, right? But now we know.
Here. We know Mike. Yeah,
right?
Mike's a dog now.
Yeah, like I won't say that, but
on the court, right? And he's a true dog, in a good way. In a good way.
But now we know who he is. Like he was this mythical figure for us, right? But they were like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if social media was out when Michael Jordan was playing, he would have never got to be Michael Jordan.
It was a popularity contest back then.
Because Mike was doing things in Chicago, pulling up to the club and doing whatever these things. Social media, there'd been too many haters of Mike.
They would have had a field day.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there would just been too many haters. But they had a perfect image from, they had to keep that image clean. They did keep it clean for a very long time.
Right. Yeah. But like I'm just saying, it'll come back. It'll come back.
So, yeah, buddy, you good, man? You all right?
This is about not me. This is about you. So this little girl that saw this figure on TV, and obviously now it's open.
Auntie O, yes.
Yeah, and now where you are, what has been sort of like your greatest accomplishment? From that little kid. Obviously watching Auntie O to what you're doing now. And I know you just came off the Olympics, hosting, the 2020 Olympics, the coverage there. So I would think for me, that's an iconic, that's a big moment.
That is a big moment. You guys, here's the problem too with the social media age and growing up in what I like to call this like real fast generation. We do so much and you think, wait, what was the biggest accomplishment? Right. That's huge, right? That's the pinnacle for athletes. It was hard too. It was hard work. Like, who knows about shalom canoeing and handball and badminton and all that other stuff. But I think for me, the greatest accomplishment has been when I was fired. I got fired in Atlanta when I was at that station I was telling you about. I got fired. Fired and rehired. It's a crazy story. They thought
you partying?
They thought you did some stuff.
They thought I cursed on air. But I said mother sucker. Right.
Right. We say
say that.
I'll say like mother father.
It's such and so my mic was still hot during a commercial break, and they was like, she cursed. I said, no, I said mother sucker. And they were like, who says that? I was like, black people say.
Yeah, we do say that. We do a bunch of stuff.
It's a little thing. So anyway, I got fired. Then they realized I didn't say anything wrong, and then I got my job back. So I want to say from that moment, when I got fired and rehired, I realized that I was so identified with just being a reporter, a local news reporter at the time, right? I was in Market 10, that was a big market. But I was so like, I'm Cari the reporter. I'm Cari the host. Like that was all, it wasn't like Cari Champion. It was like that, I was just that person. And I got fired, and then I got rehired, and then I quit because I was really unhappy. And I spent like probably a year. This is a true like year and a half maybe, just so broke. Cause I went from thinking I was making so much money living in Atlanta, and then I get, I decided to leave on my own because my ego is like, I ain't fooling with y'all.
Right,
like I'm out. Y'all need me. Life will humble you so quickly. So then,
absolutely.
So then I moved back to LA, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna work in the LA market. Like it's just real simple. I was just in top 10. I was in Atlanta. Why not just come back to LA and do local news here? Of course they want me. Nobody was fooling with me. And it wasn't even about, because, it was kind of written about, but it was like, y'all remember the Urban Dictionary?
Of course. Yeah.
And so it used to be like, look up Cari, it would be like the mother sucker, Cari Champion. Because I said it on air.
You was all in there. I was like, with your face.
With my face. Like, so I felt like I was a bad look. And so I didn't get a job. When I remember how low I was working for a woman doing telemarketing and selling coupons. And this is coming from me thinking I was about to be the biggest thing.
After you were a superstar.
In my local market, I'm about to be the bomb. I'm about to be the bomb. I was like, damn, look at this. Like, this is where I'm at. This is what we're doing. Like, and it was a really, really tough year. And it was about me just being humbled. And then so I get the job at Tennis Channel. Then I get the job at ESPN, and then I find myself in a position where I could help change other people's lives, not just like from a financial standpoint, but from a point of people look up to me and they want to get help, and I run a foundation. So the biggest accomplishment thus far is picking myself up when I was at the lowest, and my ego was at the lowest.
Absolutely.
So for me,
so you were self-aware, just your self-awareness.
Became self-aware because when you were in Atlanta, you weren't self-aware.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Not at
Because
all.
we talk a lot about the transitions and when you're going through those types of things,
Yeah.
like that's what the show is about.
I had
like,
no
right?
concept. I had no concept.
But now, looking back, you're like, I needed that.
Man,
I needed that. My life needed that.
I needed to be fired. I needed to be told I wasn't all that. I needed to live a life where, like, if you really are about to be blessed and see all these amazing things, then you have to appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like, of course, I would not have imagined, my goal was always to be Auntie O, right? But
Right.
as we, and I love sports, I worked in my life, and for me to be at ESPN and then leave like First Take, and I didn't even know what First Take was when I got on it.
Right,
so I
right,
didn't know
right,
what
right.
I was stepping into, right? And then I did Sports Center, and I had my own show there. I wouldn't have been able to write that. And now the more that you get to the point, Jay and I have our own show. Like, you're like, dude, who's giving 2 Black women their own show?
Come on now.
Right.
Like, who's doing that to hear your opinions, not to hear you talk about
Somebody else.
and to be gossiping, which we do a little of, right? But like, it wasn't about what we look like. It was like, tell me about what you think. Tell me about what you guys are experiencing. So I'm like, I'm
Do you
good.
still think that you're trending up though? You're not where you You don't want to just stay there.
Oh yeah, you mean am I? Oh, I have. Yeah, no.
You have
now
more.
you see it bigger.
Yeah.
The more and more you become aware of, you're like, okay, so show. Next step, own my own show. Next step, start with all the things that I'm already working. All the things that you're already working on. Like, because you just want to be so free. Free to me, I don't know what it looks like for y'all, but free to me is me not answering to one particular entity, right?
Right.
And I wasn't free when I was at these other companies.
No, yeah.
You know how that is.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
so what would
employee.
you? Right. So, Black woman working in the industry, what advice would you give other female or upcoming female journalists of color?
That's a great question. That's a really great question, because for the last maybe even couple of months, I've been feeling a way about, when I just watch different things from behind the scenes for women of color. And I'm not just talking about Black women, but just women of color. Yeah.
Black, Latino.
Right, anybody. Yeah, because I don't want this to be just a single message. It should just be for women. But the thing is that we're not all together and we're not all in this together. But I would just say to them, the only thing that I honestly can say that I know is true is that I go to work every single day to do a great job. Like, I show up every single day to be fair, and I'm gonna be subjective, right? We have our own opinions, but I still want to be fair, and I'm not persuaded by anything, not my boss, not some dude I'm trying to holler at, not my home girl. Like, my gut leads me. So I always say people who have real true character last in this business. They do. Like, they really, really do.
Because it seems like the opposite at the beginning of the business.
And always. Right now, you'll think those people who don't have character are winning, but that's not how
They're
that
not
works.
winning.
Because
No integrity, no character.
and then what's your legacy? No one's going to be remembering you fondly, saying, remember when, right? No one's, not how they going to do Jordan, not how they going to do Auntie O, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody makes missteps, but my point is that to me is what you're like, okay, how will I be remembered? Like, what am I doing? What am I leaving behind?
Yeah. What is the relationship like now? I've seen it grow with you and Jemele. I mean, I've seen you guys individually. I remember
We're a
going.
mess.
I know.
A great hot mess.
I don't know. She'll tell you my fond memory of.
Wait, of us two together?
No, Jemele.
Oh,
just
okay,
Jemele.
good. I'm about to say, don't.
No, not
We
together.
can tell that one
Can I
now.
get it
I've only
approved?
seen you guys on set together, like
Okay,
just
great.
watching,
Woo.
some of the stuff. I haven't seen you guys in action together.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll tell you too. Her and Michael had the show His and Hers.
Yeah.
And so that was my first experience, and obviously meeting her, and then just watching her grow and go through some of the things that she's going through with ESPN, and you've had your little deal with ESPN. What has that been like? Because I think you guys have I'm sure shared stories of how you guys are navigating to where you are now. What has that bond and friendship been like?
So when we first met, she loves to tell the story that I didn't like her. Like I never.
Is that a true story though?
Well, no, she emailed me and I had been there for 2 weeks. I didn't know how to get an email. So I was and so like 3 months later, I was like, what this
So
lady?
you didn't check your email for 2 weeks?
I know, like 2 months. Like it was a minute.
Right.
Because I didn't
So
need
she was
to.
mad that you didn't email her back.
Exactly.
So you're not an
hilarious.
email person.
Oh no, well then I wasn't. Now I am.
See,
I learned.
that's the thing.
learned.
He still don't email.
I'm not like an email person either. I'm like, yo, just text me.
Yeah, it's
Like,
easier.
and I'm like, it's the same thing.
No, it's
the
not.
same.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not. It is not the same. It's not the same.
It's not. Thank you.
However, I learned to become an email person because
you became professional.
yeah. So when you transition into the next level, you better start checking your emails, little girl.
Yes,
So that's what I was doing.
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's part of the game, right?
Yeah, I get it.
That's funny.
So
So she held a grudge.
There you go. So she held a grudge, and
That's
then
funny.
she was like, "I'm gonna be in Bristol this week. We going to lunch." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to go," because and this is no surprise. I'm only child, so I'm very like to myself at first. I'm social, but I'm not like, no, I don't want to hang out with you.
Right.
do
I'm cool
that.
at home.
Oh, yeah, right. I was like, I'm
cool at the crib.
I'm cool at the
right.
crib. I got 4 friends, and that's all I got, and I'm good, right? So Jemele was really making an effort to be my friend, and I was so anti her. I was like, I'm not talking to her. She was supposed to get this job. She probably like out to get me. And
Right,
I'm not
yeah,
fooling with her. And then we went to lunch, and she just started unloading, like telling me all these stories about how awful this place was that we were working at, and what I need to do. And I was just like, oh, that's too much. Like, it was just too
Right.
much. I'm brand new. I'm a rook. I don't want to
you
hear.
don't want that
I don't
information.
wanna hear-
Overwhelming
I don't want to
information.
exactly. I don't hear about the franchise falling apart. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I want to know the good stuff. So and it's so funny because she apologizes for that now. She goes,
That's
I
hilarious.
was just trying to help you out, and which she was. And then over the years, slowly but surely, and then she moved to Bristol. We became so close. So we went from, in my mind, right? Because this is why sometimes we view things wrong. In my mind, she was like competition. She was trying to,
Right.
because she was up for the first take gig, and I ended up getting. And I was like, she jealous. You know, like that's how we're so simple. We're taught to
Sometimes
think
we're
that's
our
simple.
own worst enemy.
And that would be me. And against all of my will, right? Against all of my stubbornness, we ended up being friends because she's just so damn kind.
That's
So
awesome.
we started hanging out all the time. And it's just one of my closest friends. We would do, that's why I was like, wait, what story do you know? We would do these trips, and it's not that bad, but we would do these trips where when we lived in Bristol, we'd be like, let's go to Vegas for 48 hours. 'Cause
What did y'all do in Vegas?
Gamble.
Y'all would stay up all night gambling.
This is
Gamble. But I
pre-married
gamble. Yeah,
Jemele?
of course.
Absolutely.
These are in the
'cause
single
when I
years.
when I went on the show and I first saw it, I was like, pretty brown eyes. That was I sang to her on the show.
Oh, that's so nice.
And you
Did she
can't
love
sing.
it?
Oh my God.
She was very embarrassed.
Yeah, she was.
Because she's so shy. Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. She has those brown. That's the
Brown
those
eye, yeah.
brown eyes. Or
They're mesmerizing. Her
What?
husband's gonna DM you after he sees this. He gonna be mad at
Oh,
me.
he
for
already
inviting you.
he already knows the story.
No,
already
I'm
told the
teasing.
story.
Kick him under the
Here, you
table.
say nothing to him.
Right. But you know.
Oh, this
I love it. And see, he knows what I saw. You know what I mean?
That's why he married
That's
her.
why
he was like, I'm right there. I'm right
Already,
there.
those brown eyes got him.
already. So you guys
You
take
owe $1 million for singing that song.
crazy trips to Vegas. That was you guys' thing.
We did. We went to Vegas. We would go to Mexico before the earthquake, Puerto Rico. We would just get away because it was so cold. And I'm from California.
Yeah.
And she was living in Florida. So we were just cold all the time. We're like, wherever we can go where it's warm and something decent. And I think you needed to do that because when you live in a place or you work in a place that's where you eat, live, sleep, sports, that's all we ever did, you get consumed by it.
Right.
And it really can be bad for you. So we used to that was just our break. We didn't even know we were doing self-care. We was just like, yo, you want to gamble?
Yeah, that's
Like,
self-care, right.
But it was self-care.
Right.
We
Were you
didn't even
guys
know what
getting
it was.
noticed at this point in your guys' career? You guys doing the autograph?
You guys
things,
need
check
security
in?
and stuff like
We,
that. You know
we,
what I mean?
we don't need security, but we do know that depending on where we're going to go and the type of clientele there is, we're going to be noticed. So
Okay.
we were like, okay, if we go here, you already know it's going to be your folks. Or if we went here, we're like, okay, not so bad. But you know, it wasn't a bad thing or a good thing. We
Right.
just knew like if we went to a bar, all our people gonna be there because sports centers or whatever, it's always
You
on.
could be there. You could be you are in there. Right.
It's always on. Or if we go over here to the strip club, Perhaps some of the people may recognize you there. I'm not for sure.
Were you ever somewhere where you got recognized, you didn't want to be recognized?
Oh, of course.
When did that happen?
Oh, all the time. Coming back from covering the Olympics, I was on the flight, and you know how when you're getting ready to stand and you're getting ready to leave, and maybe something happens, I don't know, whatever it is, it's a log jam.
Yeah.
So I'm in like row 3, ready to get up. I'm just got my backpack, I'm ready, I'm about to move quick. I'm tired, I've been working a long time.
20-hour flight, whatever.
I just have, my eyebrows are not done. I got 20 pairs of eyebrows. I'm not looking cute. I don't even know if
When have you ever not looked cute?
No, I don't think my hair was on right. I was
Sideways,
tired.
right.
I just came from I was just tired. So I'm getting there and I see this tall ass kid. This kid is tall. He's like, can we curse?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, just making sure.
Can we get some wine? Can we get glasses?
Cursing and wine, please.
Cursing and wine, because I didn't want to say anything. I didn't know if we could not curse.
Oh man, this is the Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast.
Do whatever you want to do, little mama.
Cari already mentioned, right, this is a cab blend. She just mentioned this is a cab blend. It's cab, 95% cab, 5% Syrah. So as she was explaining, it's not dry, it's not too sweet. Most of the tannins are really dry wines. This right here, the Syrah smooths it out a bit, so that's why it gives it that smooth taste.
Okay.
So if you're looking for...
sommelier, Owens.
Yeah, so this is made with a ripe black cherry, cinnamon stick aromas, and if you have a taste for plum preserves, it's made with a dark chocolate and a spicy toasted oak. And for the ladies that just heard that, I wasn't describing myself.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I was describing, the contents of the wine, the tasting notes, if you will. So yeah, so you want to get this, go to 81vino.com. You have right here, she can attest to it.
Cari Champion loves it.
Yes, she loves it. It's good. No lie.
And coming up in a city near you, you'll be able to go to places where you can try popcorn and wine. It's the new thing. No, but I'm just...
Because I'm trying to get my free case. Did he give you a case?
Can you sit that up there for me?
Sure.
Please,
He didn't give you any?
No, he's kind of being
Because he's not
selfish
really
right now.
a wine drinker.
Oh, he doesn't drink.
So, Cari, I know you haven't gotten your case yet, but I have something special for you.
We got gifts.
Yeah.
We got gifts on GPR. That's what we do.
I got this to go with your wine, and obviously your case that you think you're getting.
That you think you're getting? Am I not getting it?
It's your consolation prize.
What?
I have a candle line as well.
Oh, okay then, Smooth Daddy.
So I have a candle line.
Got me excited
coming out.
over here. All right, T. Go ahead.
SoultreeAura.com. I'm partnering with a friend of mine, so SoultreeAura.com.
Are you excited?
I am. I love candles.
We're taking
I
pre-orders.
got one.
We're taking pre-orders. Go to SoultreeAura.com. This
You
is
don't like wine, but you love candles.
Yes.
right. So
absolutely.
this is a wine pairing candle.
Oh, okay.
So
Can
obviously
he have one even though he doesn't drink wine?
Yeah, how's that work?
this is about
You and I. Okay.
He just told me no, basically.
So you can't.
all that hate in his blood
he
coming
knows
out
about.
right now.
I always talk about how I got to the Hall of Fame. My 3 pillars of success: desire, dedication, and discipline. So I have a candle, obviously dedicated to those.
Oh wow.
To those pillars.
I love that.
So I have desire. I have some fragrances dedicated to desire, dedication, and discipline. But this, since you have the wine already, I wanted to present you with Lait de Rey. So this Lait de Rey comes from a word. I mean, I can't remember where it was, but
I was waiting on that one.
but it means golden child or golden one.
I'll take it.
And the fact that it pairs with the wine, it's gold vessel.
Thank you.
You take a
Let's smell it.
Yeah, I want to smell it too.
Because you love candles, right?
Because I love candles.
Okay.
So and so that is made with a brandy leather, a cockadoo plum. We took some tasting notes from the actual
Coconut soy wax blend, hand poured.
Yep, 100-hour burn.
Again, this is a good logo. I like all of it. So thank you. I'm taking this with me.
Yeah, I just said.
I'm going home right now. I can,
Yeah, they had enough,
That's it?
right? You got right?
Not just yet. Not just yet. So let's just switch some gears. You're here in LA. This is
home for me.
She's home. She's up from Pasadena, went to UCLA,
Yep.
right? Born and raised
Somebody
in Cali.
researching?
No,
Where's the
no.
researcher on the show, Danny?
I mean, I do my own.
You're
You
the
know what I'm
researcher.
saying?
Okay. I know Danny, your producer. Shout out to Danny.
Yeah. So we got the Los Angeles Rams,
Okay.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay.
Are you conflicted? Like, who's
No,
who's
never.
your football team? And then you got the Clippers. Are you basketball or football?
Both, but first of all, I'm a Laker till I die. Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, like there's.
Well, I'm appreciate that because I got our shirt. You know,
Yeah, I
we
saw it, but
recognize
that's why
Kobe.
you didn't understand. I was like, Kobe is not only one of my favorite people in the world, one of the obviously my favorite player, and he represents the city so much. So the reason why I'm a diehard Laker fan is because that reason I'm in sports is because of my grandmother. She grew up in segregated Arkansas, but she played basketball. And when we moved
wow.
here, she used to take me to the Clippers games because that's all we could afford. And teach me basketball because she played ball.
Wow.
And then the Lakers
So she
were
took you to Clipper games, but you end up being a Laker fan.
We were always Lakers fans, but we couldn't afford seats. You have to understand.
Yeah,
right.
Clippers was $3 a ticket.
Clippers was like, here's $1. Go ahead. Here's 50 cents. Like, it was really crazy.
We'll pay you to come see the
Well,
Clipper
yeah, exactly.
game
It was
back in the
essentially
day.
like that growing up. But my grandmother just loved the game so much, she wanted me to know it. And so then, obviously, we became Laker fans. I've been a Laker fan. I grew up a Laker fan. So you have to understand, Kobe for me, when you say is it Clippers or Lakers, Kobe for 20 years narrated a portion of my young adult years to my adult years. Like Kobe for 20 years was, I remember him coming up to UCLA to play basketball when I was there going to school there.
Gym,
Yeah, he'd be at the gym. Magic Johnson, not Jordan. Magic Johnson would come and hoop. A bunch of players would just Shaq. A bunch of players would just come and hoop. So this is my team. Like, I grew up with this team, literally. But as far as Rams, that's a great question, or Chargers.
Chargers, yeah.
So when I was a kid, everybody loved the Chargers. Like, when I was, the Rams, when I was a kid, and the Chargers were always San Diego.
Right,
So it was
right.
either the Raiders or was the Rams. And when I was a kid in my family, everybody liked the Rams. So obviously, I still go with the Rams now to this day. Chargers to me seem the Chargers unfortunately will suffer from what the Clippers do.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how good they are,
Don't
right?
matter. You'll never
It doesn't
beat
matter.
them.
There's just
Yeah.
you still on the outside looking in. Like,
You have to win for so many years.
They seem displaced.
The Chargers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have to win for 10 years in order to get a new
Consistently.
generation to say
Consistently.
that's the team that I always root
right,
for.
consistently.
But yeah, the Lakers for what?
And no matter how
50
great
years.
the Clippers are, it's like and also if you're a real Laker fan, the only thing you don't want to ever see is the Clippers win a chip. Because if you do, then you just got to jump off a cliff.
Okay, so who's closer right now? Who's closer, the Lakers or the Clippers
The
of
Lakers
winning the
are always
championship?
closer, even when they're not close.
No, you can't say that because
You're talking like a real fan.
I
Right?
Yeah,
know.
you can't. Yeah, that's a fan. I'm not even gonna ask you though, 'cause
Right,
that's a fan
you're
Let me tell
answer.
you
giving
why.
us a fan answer.
Let me tell you why.
I want you to give me the ESPN
Right, yeah.
commentary answer.
The Clippers will never. Well, first of all, we already know the Clippers have no chance this year, right?
Why?
You can't just follow that.
Why
Because
this year?
Kawhi, I
You're
don't think
leading.
is
You're
playing.
leading him.
Kawhi's
on
gonna
by
be out, you
saying,
think?
Well,
Yeah,
they
I
have
am.
no.
Absolutely.
The
I want him to
Clippers
be
have
in
no
agreement.
chance.
I
Lakers
want him
have
to
no
be in
chance
agreement.
neither, so I'm not worried
That's
about
not
it.
true.
That's,
Okay,
that's
so
true.
first of all, they have who's playing for the Clippers that's healthy right now? I think Kawhi, from my understanding, is going to take this year off.
He's probably going to be done for
How are the Clippers even about to win a chip this year?
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Okay, so let's go across the street, or let's stay at home at the Staples Centers, which is the Lakers' home.
Okay.
So here we are, and we have, look, you guys say what you want to about LeBron, and I will say this about Bron.
Okay.
Before he even played with us, I was such a hater, just because I hated how people loved him over Kobe. I was like, everyone started doing Bron and Jordan.
Kobe, right?
And I'm
When
like,
you
what
forgot about Kobe, yeah.
I'm like,
Kobe's
I
number
was
two.
like, I used to be
Kobe's number
so-
two.
What?
We already
I'd be
know that.
so mad. And so as a result, because I didn't know how to handle my emotions, I was just mad at him. And it wasn't his fault.
Right. He ain't say nothing.
He ain't say
Right.
nothing.
He said not a word.
He
Right.
said-
Yeah, I ain't gonna like you for it though.
Right, but I just don't like you. And I would, whenever I had an opportunity, I'd be a little bit of a hater. Not even a little bit, a lot of bit.
A lot of bit.
A lot of
Yeah.
bit of a hater. Because I have had a platform and a podcast forever, so I was a lot bit of a hater.
Okay.
And then one day, your girl Jemele was like, what if he came to the Lakers? And this was long before he was coming to the Lakers. I was like, I was like, what do you mean? She was like, would you be so hard on him? I was like, of course not. I would love him.
Right. Because he's a Laker now.
He's a
Right,
Laker.
right.
So that's where I am right now with Bron. And
So again, that's a fan answer though.
that
It's
is,
not
but
fair.
most people are fans. But I will say this: that's why you get into this business, because you're a fan. Like, you're still a fan of the sport, and you should never ever lose that. Because if you lose it, you won't be able to tell people from right or wrong. You won't be able to listen to the bull crap and say, I don't necessarily know if that person is, because I know he does enjoy football, and he's not a diva. And if he is, it's because he wants to be and he deserves it. That's what fans should be able to do. And that's what you should do as a journalist. You should always have, in my opinion. Someone might disagree. Now, the reason why I'll say this about LeBron, I do know that, yes, he is getting older, But for whatever reasons, and I know this from behind the scenes, if anybody had an opportunity right now to play with him, they say yes. Really? No one does not name a they may, but no. They get one year with him, maybe 2, and say, okay, I'm out. But they never turn down an opportunity to play with him.
I agree.
Never.
But today's athletes.
Kawhi turned down.
I think today's athletes
because he had already won a chip.
Are
I'm
different.
talking about those who want to win.
I think today's athletes, they think about, I want to go there because I want to win. They don't think about, I want to stay here because I can win.
What do you say that? What does that mean?
So I'm going to go to LA because I want to win. That means they don't want to do as much work. If I stay somewhere, you have to do more work to win.
Sure.
I think they're taking the easy way out if they come to LA because they're saying it's easier to win with him.
I wasn't even referring about coming to LA. My point is that LeBron is the biggest, I mean, when I tell you unselfish superstar we have in the game, he's the facilitator, right? He keeps things going. Some will say because he don't want the shot, whatever, I don't care. But when you do play with him, 9 times out of 10, whether it's in Miami or if it's in Cleveland, it gives you an insurmountable chance to win a chip. It guarantees you almost a ticket to the finals.
To the finals, right? You get into the finals.
And it doesn't mean that no other player right now has that. I don't think. I hear people say that about Kevin Durant. I don't know. That's your opinion.
Yeah, Durant's teams can't get to the finals.
The reason why I say this about LeBron is because 9 times out of 10, you bet your last $5 I'm going to the finals at least if I'm a player. And so that's why they team up with him. Not because
he has had like a Robin. You know, I think
always
he's had 5 Robins.
So
you need that.
So I think if Steph Curry had, like, if Klay didn't get hurt last year, I think they would have had a better chance of advancing and doing a lot. That's just, like I said, you got your opinion, that's my opinion. Just like KD over there with the Brooklyn Nets, you got Kyrie, things happen. Like, if a person is not on the court, i.e. whatever, personal reason, injuries, it can change the scope and dynamic and the thinking of can that person actually, you can go to that team and they actually can win. With LeBron, yes, but he's had other people along the way to help him get that. He's a facilitator, he's that guy, but there are other teams as well that I feel like, okay, if I go here, I have just as good a chance to win.
And I'm not talking conference finals. I'm like finals.
No, I'm saying finals.
I think LeBron's starting to see what being in the West is compared to being in the East.
It's not easy.
Last year was a good example of him saying the West is deep.
Everybody, he don't think he knew that the West was deep?
So that's why I think he won't win a championship because they're in the West.
And I guarantee you, he probably has thought, okay, I'm that guy. I can move the needle.
And he had to come and win one in the West to add to his legacy.
Do you count that? Do you really count that?
Ooh,
do you
count
that?
I'm not gonna do
Do you count the bubble?
I'm not doing that with you.
I mean, there's been some notable.
Well, then, by the way, then Toronto's championship was nothing the year before because everybody was injured and down. They didn't have Kevin Durant. It
wasn't a bubble situation.
Clay. No, but I'm just saying they were playing. It was a 1-on-5. So like, if you want to, I'm saying if we're gonna start doing these things, like it's okay.
But I mean, Kawhi hit that shot that
he got them to the finals. Right. However, I'm talking about when they were in the finals. There was nobody there left to play.
So you care more about that Laker ring than LeBron getting his 4th or 5th ring.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay. Speaking of that, the bubble don't matter.
Okay, speaking of that,
I'm like, what?
Long as it's in the rafters, you're good. Okay.
Speaking of rings,
I love you, LeBron.
Right. I love LeBron too. By far the most dominant, best athlete that has ever played basketball.
For sure.
By far.
I won't say dominant, but go ahead.
I mean, in as far as athleticism, I'm speaking.
Okay.
Speaking of rings, you said. Mm-hmm. How many rings do you think LeBron has in him? Or the Lakers will win?
They're done. Lakers are done.
I'm not asking.
No disrespect.
You're not, Cari. I'm asking.
But it's weird too, Teal. I want to point this out. I thought Hatch was nice. I kind of don't like him now. It's weird.
Well, I mean,
it's
now
weird.
you know who he is.
Like I'm sitting here, and the more he keeps saying the Lakers are down, like I'm getting more and more.
The chair is
offended.
getting further away from me. You see how she's on that side of the chair?
Yeah,
now?
I'm like,
she was sitting in the middle.
Yeah, she was like. You can come sit right here.
I was
by me.
like,
You can come sit over here
if my
by
skirt
me.
wasn't so short, I would. But I was like,
You can come sit over here by me. I feel the same way when I'm in that chair.
I'm just like,
And we
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
our show,
sorry.
and I'm the same way.
okay, you do feel that way.
I know exactly how you
Be
feel.
my friend.
I'm just like, ugh. You know, when you're a kid, you smell something bad.
Right,
Ew.
that's all me right here. That's
Ew.
all me.
Ew. Okay. So go on. The Lakers are done. No, they're not. I
My
think.
qu- yeah.
I
How
do
many rings?
think. I think LeBron has one more in him at least.
Do you think this is the year? Because I mean, they've assembled. They've had a great offseason. When you talk about offseason
You guys,
moves,
I'm gonna give you a secret. I don't like this Sears
No.
ensemble.
I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I don't like it just like you don't like it.
but I mean, in the basketball world, amongst
Yeah.
the journalists, like this has been a great offseason for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think for any organization, for that matter. I mean, with the pieces that they've added,
You know
Carmelo, obviously
excuse
Russell
me,
Westbrook.
Is it time for me to go? I can't stand you.
I'm in your back pocket right now. Whatever you're doing, I'm
He
doing.
put a battery in my back.
The floor is yours, but I feel the same way because you're my friend. Yeah, the moves this off season. I don't know. I don't agree.
I think people were, to your intelligent journalistic question, T.O.,
Thank you.
were saying that it is really about a great year for the Lakers. They're saying they were complimenting Rob, and they were saying all the pieces the Lakers acquired. I just don't know. What I do know though is, and I will say this, I do believe in Bron's ability to figure it out, at least to get the Lakers competitive, not missing the playoffs, and yes, quite frankly, going to the finals. But I don't know. And all these players individually, I love.
Right.
It's so funny.
I love Westbrook. He went to UCLA. That's my dog. I love him.
Ooh, it's so crazy you're saying this, and I'm listening to you, and I wish Kobe was here to answer, because that would be a question I would answer him based on the offseason moves that they've made.
Yeah.
That would be the question I asked
He would
you.
answer it appropriately.
Absolutely.
He would
I
never say anything
love-
less.
Right, I would love to hear what his take would, on.
I just feel like it's I don't know. I want to know.
Right.
We're
Can't
gonna
wait
see.
to
we about to
We will find out.
sooner
We're
than
gonna
later.
see in a few months.
No, but I'm still a fan. I'm ride or die no matter what.
Do you know how people are going to be tuned in to preseason games like no other?
Sure.
Yeah, they go play.
This is going to be
Sure.
great. No, they're going to have to play a little bit. I mean, practice is one thing, but they're going to have to get on that court to gel, and just like,
I just don't know everyone's role. That's all I said.
Oh, because I mean,
And this is gonna fall.
I do.
If this season is awful, it's gonna fall on the head coaches. It's gonna fall on him, right? It's gonna
head
fall on
coach and
Vogel.
and
It's gonna fall
GM
on Vogel.
Pelinka.
And Pelinka. If they can't figure it out, but what Pelinka would do if anything went bad, Pelinka would just fire head coach mid-season. If
Right,
anything
right,
went bad, and call it a wrap.
so
right?
Vogel better watch his back.
Well,
huh?
yeah, heck yeah. This is a hard time.
is it.
I
He
would
is
be
in the hot
nervous.
seat. Hot
So
seat.
he's
I would
on.
be
So you're
nervous.
saying
The whole
Vogel
year
is in the
you're in the
hot
hot
seat
seat.
before there is even
Well,
a
if it
hot
doesn't
seat.
work,
Yeah.
who are they gonna blame? They're
They're
definitely not gonna blame the players.
Right.
They're not going to blame Rob. Who else is there to blame? That's in any sport.
Any
It's
organization.
the coach, always.
Absolutely.
Whether you're in college or you in the pros, the coach is going to get blamed, period. So he knows that too. Come on.
I know you like popcorn. I love popcorn, but there's this rumor out here that you like certain things on your popcorn.
Oh.
That's
You're talking to me.
I hope so. It ain't talking to me.
Ketchup.
what?
Yeah.
Carrie.
I like ketchup on everything.
Carrie.
But popcorn?
Ketchup,
that-
hot
that-
sauce, salt and pepper.
Carrie,
Try it.
ketchup
And
on
I'm not
popcorn?
downce it. Just give it
That's
right
that
there.
Arkansas in you.
I
That's that Arkansas
like
in
ketchup
you.
on my tacos.
I rock with that.
See?
I rock with that.
It's not bad.
Some things seem appropriate. Like
Does
But-
hot sauce on popcorn seem appropriate?
I don't do it, but
More
I know
so
a lot of
than
people who
ketchup.
do
Why
it.
though? Why more so than ketchup?
it just sounds more appropriate.
Okay, have you tried it?
I have not tried it.
But ketchup on popcorn?
I put ketchup on everything. I put ketchup on macaroni and cheese.
Have you ever had a bite of your hot dog that had mustard and ketchup on it and then followed it with your popcorn?
No.
No.
You never had a bite where you take a bite of this and then a little mixture of that? It's almost like eating a burger and fry. You've never done that.
I do that with salt and sugar stuff, like fries
Carrie,
in a
I'm over here
milkshake.
No.
Like that's
You
fine,
over there
right?
like-
But
I'm
some
like
like
this over
regular.
here.
No,
with the pop.
you're
over here, it's
missing,
like
you're missing the point. I'm
away.
saying you don't layer your bites. You eat one thing by itself. You
Yeah,
don't layer your
you
bites.
eat everything over
So you
here,
eat the meat.
then you eat
So you eat
this?
the meat by itself, then you eat the rice by itself, and then you eat the salad by itself.
No,
You do
I'm
that?
Not, I'm
I do
not like
that.
that. I like
That's-
to mix it up a bit.
I don't mix it up.
That's-
Only thing I mix up is my applesauce and macaroni and cheese. That's all I do.
Okay, so I'm done.
That's all I do.
Applesauce.
I'm
and
out.
It's
what?
fire. Just
I'm
trust
out.
me. Trust
I'm
me,
out.
world.
Both of y'all are
No, no,
weird.
no.
I'm just saying.
No.
That's
Both
not
y'all-
weird. That's good.
Applesauce?
You guys would love it though. Trust
Applesauce
me.
and macaroni and cheese. You're worse than Carrie.
Worse.
What? How am I gonna be worse?
You're worse than Carrie.
Man. Anyway.
Ketchup and popcorn. We're
Try
gonna
it.
we're
I
gonna do a
get-
poll.
We'll do a test.
Who would
Next
try
time you come
what
on, let's do a
first?
test taste.
Okay.
Taste test.
Taste
Let's do a
test.
taste
Same.
test.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And we
Okay.
can get some things. And we can go get your little whatever you do, creatine and something else, whatever you doing.
don't
When you
think
mixing
any
your
of that-
food
Yeah, right.
with.
The word like he put creatine in his mac and cheese. I don't.
Whatever you mixing your
He's
food
like,
with.
don't encourage him.
Carrie, don't do that.
You just went on his side
No,
a
I
minute
didn't.
ago.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you did. You
yeah.
leaned on the couch
Get
and you
him.
didn't
Yeah,
have my
you
back.
sure did.
You
was
went on
my
his side a
side.
minute ago.
Don't do that, Carrie. We cool though. Don't do
Don't
that.
let him influence us.
We cool. Macaroni and applesauce, Carrie. You
That's
know,
how we do it.
disgusting.
I agree.
That's how we do it. So next time on Get Your Popcorn Ready, we having a taste test. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Cari Champion, thank you, Cari,
Thank
for coming
you,
out.
Carrie.
We appreciate
Thanks
you.
for letting me hang out.
That was a good show, man.
Absolutely. I mean, probably, not probably, the first time that we've had a guest that I would say looks better than me.
All of our guests looks better than you.
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that.
You gave her some wine, gave her a kick. No, you know you've set a standard.
Hey, I'm working my angle, you know what I mean? Carrie's, I think she's single.
She don't like you though.
Says
That's why
who?
she's single.
Says who?
If she want, that's
After
not the
this show,
conversation
dog.
today. That's not the conversation, right?
But
can't
if you
just-
notice during the show how close she was trying to get over here,
No, she wasn't. No.
how she was
I want-
inching.
No,
So
no.
why was she inching closer to this way?
She was. I was just trying to give her some of that Laker hate. By the way, the Lakers are not good.
Being that she's
Right.
not in the seat anymore.
Right.
let
Yeah.
me-
You can come back. I needed that buffer. I needed her to be the
it's all
buffer
good.
today.
You know, the real
for
champ
us.
is here. I mean,
Wow.
the real champ is here now. I
Wow,
mean, she's
wow.
gone. I mean, she was the champ for just for that bit.
She's
but
the
now
champ today. Cari
real-
Champion,
the
the
real
champ
champ
on
is
Get
here.
Your Popcorn Ready
Let's
podcast.
do
We
this,
appreciate you coming out though, Cari, showing us some love, man. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Cari. Appreciate you. Champion our efforts.
Yeah, our show. I mean, Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. It's on fire right now, especially after she sat in the seat. It is kind of warm.
She
It is-
warmed that thing up for you.
Hey, this seat is kind of hot right now. Woo, there's a
There
lot
it
of
is.
hotness. Boy, there's a lot of hotness in this seat.
Yeah.
Woo.
Anyway, thank you.
Boy,
Appreciate
there's a lot
you.
of hotness in this
See y'all
seat.
next week. Peace.